Good morning, guys. How do we stay on our path to developing ourselves when things get tough? Maya Angelou reminds us today to be courageous. And we have to remember that that is a choice. In the most difficult time, in the most difficult circumstances, when people, things around us are negative and they're not serving us, we have to be the ones to make the choice. Being courageous is a choice. We have to remember that. We're going to be afraid the rest of our life to do many things. But if we lose our ability to choose courage, everything will stop. Our development, helping those around us, being the best we can be, it all stops. Unless we get back up and we get in there and we fight with courage to continue on our path to help ourselves and each other. Have a great morning, everyone.
So I have no science background. And by the way, my first company was a computer background. When I started that, I didn't even seen the computer in my life. So I have no computer science background. When I started a space company, I have no idea how rockets work, right? I have no idea of astronomy. I have no idea how orbits work. Is that I go and learn, and then I surround myself with the smartest people, and then I question them. Why can't we do it this way? And every time you question an expert, why can't we do it this way? And the first answer they always tell you is, it just won't work. And you say, tell me why it won't work. And they always say, do you know much about it? No, but why don't you explain that to me then? And by the time they finish explaining, oh, it just might work.
Right.
Right. And that is the thing, is surround yourself with an expert and you keep questioning every single thing they are asking you to do.
How did you get the self-confidence to know that you could go in and maybe not become a rocket scientist, but be able to be in a group, not be bamboozled by them, be able to get them past their own limiting beliefs so that you could, build this extraordinary company or environment?
Sure. So I think it's just idea of bootstrapping. So bootstrapping is you learn a little bit and then you learn more from because you learned a little bit. So once you get the basic foundation and the basic vocabulary of a particular subject, then you start reading book and then you get a lot more knowledge. And that allows you to learn a little bit more about a science paper, and you don't have to know a lot. And then I can go, and today every time I read a science paper, I don't understand 80% of it. Then I go ask my guys and say, hey, can you look at this science paper and explain that to me in real English? What is it they're trying to say? Right? And now tell me, what is it that we can learn from it that we can apply?
You have no idea what you're capable of. You have no idea. You have no idea the person you could be, the things you could accomplish, the things you can do, the people you can serve. You have no idea. That's why I don't like 10-year goals. 10-year goals. Think about who you used to be 10 years ago. Could that person accurately, with any degree of certainty, predict where you could be right now? No. Like, if you're growing and you're learning and you're improving and you're expanding, you're investing in yourself, there's no way that you know where you're going to be in 1 year, let alone 5 years or 10 years. You have no idea what you're capable of. And so it comes down to questioning everything. To question what you can and can't do. We're told the story growing up of what you should do, and we're told everything, right? You're told when to show up and where to go and what to wear and what to eat and at what age you should get married and what kind of career you should go into, right? We're told we should do all these things. You're told, you're like, who? Nobody ever thought to ask us what we want for our lives. And you may not even know, and that's okay. Like, you may know where you want to go next, but you may not ultimately know the final destination. It's awesome. I think if you know the final destination, you're thinking small. Apart from having a mission, the mission, the purpose. Why do you do what you do? I want to solve the world's biggest problem. People don't believe in themselves enough. That's what I'm chasing down every day. Do I know where I'm going to be in a year? Nope. Am I still making videos? Probably, but who knows? Like, question everything. I want people to believe in themselves more. What's the best way to do that? Right now, it's through YouTube. But I think a lot of times people have too certain of a plan, and then they end up playing small, because there's nothing wrong with having goals and plans, but sometimes you need to jump off that. If you have a 10-year goal, quite often you need to jump off that goal 2 years in, because something better has come along that actually better serves who you are right now, because the goal you set was for who you used to be. You know, have you felt that? And so I'm here at Genius Network, and this is a group of super successful entrepreneurs that meets once a month in masterminds and talk about their business, and pay a lot of money to be a part of something like this. And every time I'm around people who are having a high degree of success, I always try to have them pick me apart. So when we do, there's an exercise called hot seats where you go around on a table and you basically share what you think your biggest problem is. And whenever it gets to my turn, I just want people to ask me questions, because your biggest problem is you don't know what your biggest problem is. Right? Your biggest problem is you don't know what your biggest problem is. If you knew what your biggest problem was, you can go and solve it. For entrepreneurs, for ambitious people, you've got goals. It's like, you don't know what the real problem is. The problem you think you have is a problem. You know, the problem you think you have, yes, very much is a problem, but there's a deeper problem underneath it that you're missing, that I'm missing. So this is where questioning everything becomes important. My default has become, instead of pretending like I know everything and I know all my problems, that I don't know anything, and ask me questions. And in the process of asking me questions and learning about me, maybe you come up with some insight that I'd never seen before. Everybody has their own way of processing giving advice, you know? So I'm around people here. Everybody here has a 7 or 8 figure or 9 figure business, and people here have sold their businesses for 9 figures. Crazy. Awesome. And so they have their own way of processing things and asking questions and breaking somebody down. So instead of me coming in with the question and having them try to fit into my box, I'd rather fit into theirs. Because in trying to understand how they process things, it'll probably make me stretch and grow and learn. And I'm probably gonna get a better result because they're gonna see something that I don't see. And so in the process of questioning everything, when people can break you down and you're open to it, right? Because we hold on to our identity. Like, no, that's not going to work for me. You know, even, got a bee. I am allergic to bees. Maybe I should question that. I don't feel like questioning that today, though. Do not want to get stung by a bee. I once got stung by a bee, and only time in my life I've been stung by a bee, and I was on the floor, and my back just swelled up from the bee sting. Anyway, maybe question everything except bee stings. How about that? There's been times when people have given me advice and it made sense and it really fit, and sometimes when it didn't. And even if it doesn't make sense, what I'll default in my head to saying is, this is either nothing, like the person didn't read me correctly, or it's the whole thing. Think about it. If you're really opposed to somebody's advice or feedback for you, if somebody gives you great advice, like, oh wow, that's really cool, I should go and do that. Cool. They met you where you were at and you understand it. But there'll be other times when it doesn't feel right. And it could be that it just wasn't a fit and they're giving you the wrong advice. Or you're so blind, and this is what gets me excited, is maybe I'm so blind, maybe I believe my story so much that the thing that you're talking about is actually the whole thing. Like, it's all I should care about. Because figuring out how to solve that, because I'm so tied to my own story that I'm not questioning enough. I'm coming back to the B spot. Hopefully it's gone. I'm not questioning enough, and figuring that out becomes the whole unlock. So a quick story on this. I did a life coaching session with Gary Vee's life coach, Beth Hendel. And at first I was shocked. I didn't know Gary Vee had a life coach, and so I was very excited to talk to her. And just like I've been explaining in this video, I went through her process. Like, how do you ask questions? What do you want to know about me? I don't want it to be, if this is a coaching session, just treat me as a client. Treat me as somebody who you're going to coach. What do you need to know from my story and how I act? And I'm gonna be as open, as honest as possible. And what it led to was, a lot of the stuff she was saying was great, but my single biggest insight and takeaway was this, and I'm practicing this every single day now. The one takeaway that has honestly changed my life. Historically, I've been the person who believes in the plan. So what's my plan to get to the next step? Like, I want to go here, what's my plan? What's my plan? What's my plan? So I have the belief in the plan. And I wake up every day and I just do the plan because I believe in the plan. I'll have some days where I don't believe in the plan anymore. Like, will this plan help get me anywhere? Is this plan still working? And like, it's not working anymore. And that leads to some anxiety for me because I believe in the plan. And when the plan doesn't work, what happens? And so what I'll end up doing is making a new plan. So I have a plan, I believe in a plan until I don't believe in it anymore, causes anxiety, come up with a new plan. You following? So in creating a new plan, then I have certainty in the plan again and I'm fine and I'm rocking and rolling. But there are some days when I can't come up with a new plan. The plan I have, I don't believe in anymore, and I'm racking my brain to come up with a new plan and I can't come up with a new plan. If I'm the kind of person who believes in the plan and then I can't come up with a new plan, that's a really stress-inducing, anxiety-filled place to be. And it doesn't happen that often. But when it does, and I can't come up with a new plan, especially in the moment, well, what I would end up telling myself is great things happen to me. You know what happened? Great things happen to you. And I would use it as a self-soothing mechanism, as a coping mechanism, because I didn't want to just stay locked in that stress and it would be a downward spiral. Like if I believe in the plan and the plan's not working and I can't come up with a new plan, then I don't know what to do with my life. And that would create a downward spiral. I've never gone anywhere close to depression or suicide, but that could lead to some dark places. And so the way that I come out of it is just say, great things will happen to me. Great things happen to me. They always happen to me. Great things happen to me, and I'll figure this out. And that gives me the comfort to move forward into the uncertainty, and then something will come that I will solve it. And what she said was, Gary Vee's life coach was, what you say to yourself when you need that self-soothing of great things happen to you needs to be your default state. So instead of believing in the plan as your default state and only going to great things happen to you when you are at the lowest of your low, flip it to the point where great things happen to you is the default, because that's where you're actually your best self. And I really felt that. I don't know how to do it, but even in questioning how do I do it, I just have to believe that great things happen to me. So a big part of my routine now is I don't know how many times I'll say that to myself, feel that great things happen to me. I'm gonna put it as my new cell phone background. It's a constant reminder. Even making this video is another reinforcement of it. When people ask me what my goals are, there's been these exercises we've been doing in Genius Network here, and I just keep reminding myself, I don't know, I don't have a 10-year goal. Great things happen to me. It's a constant reminder, and I used to live it before this awareness. I don't know, like how many times would I feel really down and low and anxiety filled that I couldn't come up with a new plan? Maybe half of 1% of the time, like really small amounts. And now I'm probably living in great things happen to me maybe 5% of the time, 10% of the time, which is a huge jump from half of 1%, but it's still not my default mode yet. I'm still a believe in the plan guy. That's my ongoing challenge to myself. That's how I'm questioning. It's the willingness to question what you're doing. Because what you're doing right now has gotten you to where you're at. And if you're happy with where you're at, cool. But if you want more, you want to create more, you want to serve more, you want to bring more, you want to help more, you want more, you want to change, and you have to change. And the change starts with not just questioning everything out there, but questioning everything in here. Questioning what you believe to be true, questioning who you think you are, questioning for sure what you think you're capable of. Because when you can get to the root of that, amazing things can happen. Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there. If you want to see my one-on-one with Naveen, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
Self-belief comes from self-love. Right. The minute you fall in love with yourself is the day the world will fall in love with you.
Good afternoon, guys. Courage requires determination. It requires a desire that is so deep within you, so intense, that you know you're not stopping no matter what. And so for us to show courage each and every day as things happen to us that are not within our control and don't go our way, and yet we want to make change, we have to show courage in doing and making choices that perhaps are uncomfortable, things that are going to scare us, things that are not going to feel good because we're not used to them. They require courage, and courage is only developed through endless, relentless energy, through determination, choice by choice, getting back in there, even though it may not have gone your way, continuing to fight. And so determination is what's going to get you through and develop your courage so that you can feel the freedom you deserve. Have a great afternoon, everyone.
So in today's environment, you need to be flexible, you need to listen, and be able to pivot and change really fast. Belief, innovation, and resourcefulness will take you everywhere. Okay, this is gonna show my brilliance, Evan. You ready for the deep, wisdom-filled?
Here it comes. Today's episode of Model to Masters is brought to you by TubeBuddy. TubeBuddy is your best friend on your road to YouTube success. I use it every day on my channel to get more views and subscribers, automate the boring tasks, and split test my thumbnails and titles. I've done over 3,800 split tests, which have led to results like taking this 5-year-old video that was getting 250 views a day, and just by changing the thumbnail, it blew up to 15,000 views per day. You can get started on TubeBuddy for free at tubebuddy.com/Evan. And now on to the show. Let's learn from the master, Dean Graziosi.
And there he is.
What's up, Evan? We tried this one other time and it didn't go so well. So I'm glad to be here.
How many times did I try? I was stressing out so much on that day trying to bring you in. It's like just kept crashing. Anyway, we're making it. It's happening. Welcome, man.
Good to see you, man. How you doing?
I'm good. How's Arizona? Everything I see in the news looks crazy.
I just stay in here. I'm in my house. Like, I feel like we have to hunker down. Yeah, Arizona's a little crazy, but you know, it's only crazy in little pockets. You know, it's great that Arizona looks like the party city of the world. All they show is B-roll of like people at the clubs and partying. And I think that's what did it. But we're all just adapting to the new norm. So what's up, man? It's good to see you. I see you all over the place. I see you hustling. I see you impacting lives, doing amazing stuff on YouTube. You know, dude, you are, and I want to share whatever works for, you know, your following, my following today, but I want to share, dude, your book, Built to Serve, you are built to serve. There's a difference when, you know, I've been an entrepreneur for over 30 years. I've been in the self-education industry for 24. Doesn't even seem possible. But there's a lot of people that when you kind of meet your heroes or you meet the people behind the book, a habits book, a built to serve book, a time management. It's like you meet the guy with the time management book and he's late getting on stage and stressed out of his mind in the green room. Like there's no congruency is what I wanted to say. And before we chat today, I just want to honor you and give you congruency. What you wrote in this book is really who you are, man. You are built to serve. You reach out to my team all the time and want to help with YouTube and tell us what we're doing wrong. And you're not doing it because of finances. You're not doing it because you're trying to get an edge. You're doing it just because this is who you are, man. So I love seeing you out there. I love seeing you grow. I love seeing the impact you're making.
Cool, man. Appreciate it. I'm still working on accepting compliments. So I'll just say thank you.
Oh, then I'm going to keep doing it through this entire thing to make you feel uncomfortable.
Oh, great. Classic Dean. All right, cool. Well, you know what? Also in that story, you know, you've been really helpful in getting that book out. I remember when I came to Puerto Rico and was trying to get feedback on pre-launch, you and Brendan Burchard took time backstage while you're doing your big event. People paid all this money to come there, and you took time over lunch for 40 minutes to do a deep dive on my strategy. And just super grateful that you guys did that, and you hooked me up with your warehouse and a whole bunch of things that Dean's a big reason why the book has got out there.
Just a little piece, man. Just what's up, everybody? I see the highs. So how can we deliver some value today? How do we help out? Besides, I do got to plug this. Like, if you didn't check out Evan's Built to Serve, you should check it out. The truth is, I'm not all the way done. I freaking love it. My biggest problem is every book I read, Evan, I listen. I have such a hard time reading. I still have dyslexia. It still doesn't stick. So it's taken me longer, but when I actually read a book, it sticks. So highly recommend it. And it just you. It's like it's having a 200-page conversation with you, which is always cool.
Cool, man. Appreciate it. Well, I also have an audiobook version. I read it myself, so there's always.
Oh, dude, please send that to me. Dude, why are you torturing me with this? I mean, I love the words, but don't torture and make me read. I would have had this baby done weeks ago. So send me that.
Okay, we'll get you hooked up. Okay, so I thought it'd be cool. Actually, I just finished reading yours too. I'm a slow reader. Audio's even worse for me. But
I did. That's the first book I ever did an audio on in my life. So.
Really?
Yeah.
I just finished it. I love it. There's a lot of stories in here. I mean, I've seen so much of your videos and so much of your content, but there's a lot of stories in here that I didn't know. Like, man, that's some cool stuff. I like it. So Underdog Advantage, guys, go check it out. I thought maybe we'd do some Q&A with the audience too, and
let's do it.
Get some takes here. So you got a question from your Dean? Pop it in here. What's one positive belief that you have that you believe others do not yet believe?
A positive belief. This might seem too generic, but maybe it's because I'm 51, because I've been an entrepreneur since 15. I've never worked for anybody in my entire life. And that's not because I came from money. It's a complete opposite. But in high school, I used to cut firewood. Actually, in 8th grade, I sold bubble gum. 10th and 11th grade, I started a firewood business. I bought an old chainsaw, I chopped trees, deliver cords of wood. Then I started buying wrecked cars. And so I never worked for anybody in my life. So just know that transition. But I've been around long enough to know that one of the greatest things, I'm going to give two answers to that. One is, I promise you, your beliefs. If you're watching me right now, if you say, I want to go to another level, this COVID thing, it's been chaotic, and I recognized I want to shift my life. I don't want to go back to my old me. I don't want to go back to that old job. I don't want to go back to, letting someone else run my life, or whatever it is that you've recognized. Beliefs are the most powerful thing. Like if someone said you could go back and talk to your 17-year-old self, I would teach on beliefs. So whoever posted that, exceed your potential, great question. Because at this phase, if you told me this in my 20s, I'd be like, you've been living in California too long, right? Like it just wouldn't have sunk in that the only thing standing between you and where you want to go is the belief you have on why you can or can't get there. And I know you've heard that a million times. It's like, it's personal development 101, but man, sometimes it doesn't stick to your ribs until you hear it from someone. I'm telling you, the only thing that got me through was my beliefs. And the times I stumbled and stressed and failed, it was my beliefs. It had nothing to do with the government or the president or the economy or the people around me, or if my family supported me or not, or if I had money or not. It had to do with my beliefs and then being innovative and being resourceful. So those three things. Belief, innovation, and resourcefulness will take you everywhere. But the question was, because I didn't even answer, is what is the one belief you have that you believe others don't have yet? If you haven't been through hell and back and found that your success lives on the other side of your worst fears, your biggest obstacles, the belief is that I truly believe that anything. I truly do. I believe, I didn't have a great relationship, and I'll take responsibility for it in the past. And I got a divorce years ago, but I found a new belief that there could be real connection, real love, real soulmate. And I started believing that every day, and I attracted the love of my life. We've been together 3 years. Every day we fall more in love. We have a new baby. Like, it's amazing because I shifted my beliefs on that. I believed that someday I'd be partners with Tony Robbins, the guy who inspired me 25 years ago when I bought his course off an infomercial. Tony and I talk 7 times a day. We have 3 companies we started now. I'm busy every day of my life because of that belief that someday that was going to happen. And I just wish someone would have shaken me earlier in my life and say, shift those beliefs, get rid of it. Even all the stuff going on in the world, Evan, I believe if we all shift our beliefs just 10%, we could solve all the problems. But anyway, I went way long on one little question.
Oh no, I love it. And for anybody watching, it's easy to see Dean in this environment, and he's so comfortable in front of the camera and making all these videos and ads and everything else. But I got to hang with him kind of behind the scenes and spend days with him and his wife, and he lives it. He lives it, right? Still holding hands, still making time, still maybe not coming out at night with everybody else because he's got to go, not got to go, chooses to go, be, with his wife. And so that's a super huge inspiration. She was like the only one who's backstage. When Dean's on stage, she's backstage. All the other speakers that I see, they're just by themselves, but there's Dean, with his wife, and they're always together. And so it's Dean's he's living it. From someone who's kind of seen behind the scenes, he's living it. To that question, I would just say I think everybody's got Michael Jordan level talent at something. Like, you're the greatest in the world at something. You just have to believe in that and chase it down. How did you start changing that belief, Dean, for you? Like, that relationships were bad, or that I was going to go get Tony Robbins. Like, a lot of people have these big goals, ambitions for themselves, but then they have this moment of inspiration where they believe it, and then they wake up the next day and they don't believe it anymore. Like, how did you keep that consistent?
So I would love to say there's a lot of answers that came to my head at one time, like obsessing on a compelling future, don't listen to the inner villain, like all those things come to my head at once. Like, I want to spit out. It's like I feel like I want to say 10 things at once. But I would say that, one, I play little tricks on myself. Like, I definitely hack my own emotions and my own thoughts. If you don't think this is what I do every day of my life. I still feel like an imposter some days. That's the new thing. I have an imposter syndrome. It's a new term, but I always felt scared to death and felt I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. How did I get in this room? Right? Why are these people are way smarter than me? Who invited me? Right? I still feel that way. Right? So know that those emotions will always be there. But I think if I look back, Evan, I think I do little things like looking back at the end of my life. At the end of your life, are you going to say, I'm glad that I played small and I didn't go for that dream because, man, if I went and I failed, that would have been horrible. No, at the end of your life, you're like, what the hell did I waste this for? Like, I was young, I was vibrant, I lived on earth. I had endless possibilities, and I let fear, or I let complacency, or I let procrastination stop me. Screw that. Like, I will do that to make myself disturbed. Evan, you know me. I still play as if I'm broke and I'm 10 points down. I do. I hustle like I can't make my mortgage payment. It's because I found a way to, I know the impact I want to make. I know the success I want to achieve. I feel like if we're not climbing, we're sliding. Like Tony says this elegantly, like, we're really put on this earth for growth and contribution, right? It's like, man, last year we provided 6 million meals. I donated $500,000 to help kids in slavery. Like, each $1,500 saves a child. Like, I didn't say that to brag. My whole point is find two things. Look at the side if you don't take action. Like, don't just say, oh, if I do this, I can have freedom. If I do this, I can have more money. If I do this, I can do better things for my family, my children. You got to look at the other side too, Evan. You got to look at, what if you don't? Like, some of you are going to be more motivated by if you don't than if you do, because all I know is if I don't do this, I could go back to where I'm not in control of my time, where I can't coach Little League, where I can't coach softball, where I can't spend extra time with my wife, where I can't be a good leader, where I can't have new kids, have new babies that I can be home with. Like, take that away from me and take away my life. So I'll fight like I'm broke. I'll fight like an underdog. Yeah, anyway, that's a long answer to a short question.
Good evening, guys. I want to share a story with you today to help us remember how hard it is to develop courage, but how possible it is too. And one necessary thing we have to learn to take in, and that is the fact that there's going to be a lot of negativity or a lot of rejection that we have to face as we grow on our path. And I remember Les Brown, a story he shared about his high school teacher telling him to get back in there every single day when he was trying to get a job as a DJ. And I remember there's one time where his former high school teacher said to Les Brown, he said, go back again. He goes, some people are so negative that they will have to say no 7 times before they say yes. And it made me laugh because just the way it was phrased. And I thought, it's so true. We got to keep going even after all the rejections. Have a good evening, everyone.
If the people around you tend to be healthy, whether that is emotionally healthy, mentally healthy, physically healthy, your odds go way up, especially the odds of conscientious discipline and design. Your ability to surround yourself with people who are in a good place is one of the great gifts of our life. We are social animals. A lot of what we do in life is mimetic, meaning we kind of copy what we see of others. We set expectations on ourselves of what we see of others. A lot of our behaviors, our habits, our mental models are really a fact of sociology. And when you understand that the people you surround yourself with, you talk with, you look at, you work out with, you're around, you're healthier. I am a greatly healthier person in my life because of my wife. And for most men out there, or those who are partners in couples where one other partner is healthier than the other, that's one of the greatest gifts of all time. You know, I'm a way healthier person. I don't think I knew what kale was until I met Denise. I had no idea. Broccoli? What? How come it's dark like that? Are there no cheese on it? So that was important for me to learn a lot about. All of my friends in the health and wellness category, like being around them all the time and seeing their posts and their Instagrams, or being at conferences and studying their work, or going to conferences that are about health, surrounding myself in an ecosystem has made me healthier. It really has. If you look at where I grew up to where I am now, I mean, it's totally different peer set, and that was by design. You might not get to choose your biology or all your family, but you get to choose your peers and your friends and the inspirations who you follow or learn from, especially in this category of health. Once you have that energetic vision, I promise you'll surround yourself with better people.
Need motivation? Watch the top 10 of Believe Nation because I love it.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because you are probably the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more, and you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Brendan Burchard, and my take on his top 10 rules of success. Enjoy. Rule number 2, have a battle board.
When we don't have a vision for next week, next month, next year, life can start to feel like we're just in, kind of in the swamp. And that we're just going through the motions. And, oh my God, I'm working so hard, Brendan. Or, oh my God, Brendan, I have all these reasons to be happy. I already have the great kids. I have a house. I can afford the car payments. I mean, I have all these reasons to be happy, but I don't know, something's missing. I don't feel purpose either. It's usually a disconnect or lack of clarity about your future. And I don't mean 10 years out or 50 years out. I mean sometimes next month and next year. Really, just sometimes it's just a couple month horizon and lacking clarity and connection with just the next couple months. Or in some cases, if you're a longer term strategic kind of guy, the next year or two. I can feel that. If I feel a disconnect for my next year or two, I tend to lose a connection with purpose, a connection with motivation. I feel like the intentions or the productivity of the day are kind of like, for what? It's easy to go, I'm working so hard, but for what? And that for what, I know equals vision. What is the vision of your next couple months or next couple years? No one will give you that. It's time to sit down and think about that. It's why you all know I keep a battle board over here on the wall. And my battle board is it's basically like a arts and crafts version of a yearly schedule. It's like a big piece of butcher paper with 12 boxes drawn on it. And the 12 boxes each represents 1 month of the year. And I create themes across the boxes. I write the major projects and deadlines up on the boxes. And I write a bunch of my values up there. And all I do is every day, I just kind of stare at it. I'm a person who am really good. Any persons here, you're really good at just living in the moment. I know a lot of people aren't good at that, but I'm really good at just being here in the moment. I've had to teach myself to do that. I'm not as good of making sure I'm connected to my vision or to a longer term plan. I'm like in the moment, I'm a happy-go-lucky kid. But if I lose connection to the vision, to the future, the happiness goes down. I also see the luck tends to go down when you're disconnected from a vision. So what do? I force myself every day when I come into this office, I'm like in a home studio here. When I walk in, I stare at that and I force myself to just stare at it and think for 5 minutes. I have a little notepad next to me and I look at where everything is lining up over the next year, sometimes the next 2 years. And I just look at it. I mean, if you walked in, it's really not an attractive thing. I'm kind of like this. I'm just standing there kind of dumb looking, just looking at it like, hoping something comes into the brain that day. Walking through each month, even if I saw it yesterday, I'm just forcing myself to look out. You know why people tend to be motivated January 1st? Because they're looking out again and they hadn't done it for a while.
Rule number 3, improve personal accountability.